It's always one step forward and 3 steps back.
Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, when it comes to Iraq, we're always taking 1 step forward and 3 steps back. You know, there's a couple ways you can look at this. The glass is either half full or half empty, I guess is one of the other ways you could look at this. Well, as usual, there's problems with the banking. There's problems with the currency auctions, which means there's possible laundering of money, which is the issue that people have with Iraq. They're constantly in trouble for financing terrorists as well as money laundering. And they just can't seem to get it together. Okay, we're going to get into that here. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Moneymetals Exchange. The link will be down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code PIMPYSILVER. Yes, it has changed. PIMPYSILVER. So if you're watching this video and it's an older video, make sure you check on current videos, because the code is going to be changing from time to time from now on. Also, I can be found on other platforms. Everybody knows I have my own website, Pimpy's News Network. Over here, I post videos that I can't get away with over on YouTube. Also, I have a group on Facebook called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here, we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. Come on over here and join us. It's free to do so. You can also come follow me on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, and Odyssey. The links for all these platforms will be down below in the description. So for whatever reason, if I get removed off of one platform, you could find me on the others. This looks terrible. Yes, take a look at this. So you can either go back as far as March and go, oh man, the oil from the peak has dropped big time. So sometime right at the end of June, you can see right here on this graph, oil was above $120 a barrel. It is now down here at $72.81. It's actually just under a 40% decline. 40% decline all the way from here. But from here, it's just slightly under, around 38%. So we're looking at a 38% loss. What do you think that does to Iraq? Remember, I told you guys out there going, oh, Pimpy don't know what he's talking about. Oh my God, they get so much money from oil. We should go ahead and see a huge increase in the currency. Nope. Just because they made a lot of money off of oil sales didn't mean anything. It was a huge help for Iraq to get back on track with the economy. They didn't have to borrow as much money as they thought. Their gold reserves doubled. Their foreign currency assets are around 90 billion. And those two things are important for making the currency a stable currency. But they're so reliant on oil. When I said that they don't have a stable economy, everybody's like, yes, they do, man. You don't know what you're talking about. Why? Because they had a lot of sales in oil? Okay. No, there's more to it than just oil, you guys. And this was a concern that I had, that although Iraq is doing really good and they're making a ton of money and there's all kinds of issues with oil around the world, they have to start rebuilding the private and public sectors, start doing infrastructure. They need to do something, man, other than relying so much on oil sales to fund their entire budget. For those of you who were not here or not aware, back at the end of 2019, thanks to the RONA, we saw oil prices drop big time. And that damn near brought down the government of Iraq, who was on the verge of being bankrupt. It forced Al-Qademi and the government to go ahead and decrease the value of the Iraqi Dinar to save the country from going belly up. So unlike those other channels that are just going to blow smoke up your butt, pull out their wand from their booty, wave around some unicorn pixie dust on you, and pump you full of opium, that's not what we do here. We're going to be realistic about what's going on, And I'm also going to try to do what I can to bring to your attention the things that we should be watching for before we see an actual increase in the value of the Iraqi dinar. It says local banks stop buying and selling dollars in Iraq. Why? That's not a good thing. It said a local bank has stopped buying and selling dollars due to the instability of the dollar exchange rate on the Iraqi stock exchange. So the Iraqi stock exchange kind of sets the market. Right now, we know that the government gives the Iraqi dinar pretty much a fixed rate for exchanging, but it is out there on the Iraqi stock exchange. And right now, there's so much speculation and there's so much fiddling around with the Iraqi dinar. There is a group of people, I told you, that's there, a faction that's there, who makes money off of creating issues for the Iraqi dinar and the government for that matter. Said it is noteworthy that the selling prices of the dollar recorded yesterday. In other words, you got 1,496 dinars for every dollar. It said today the selling price of the dollar recorded at 1,504 Iraqi dinars for every dollar. It's going in the wrong direction. We needed to go in the other direction. Something is causing the Iraqi dinar to lose its value against the US dollar. Well, one, they're lying about the strength of the US dollar. They really are. They can't afford the world to panic and start dumping the dollars because that's what was going on earlier. And as I stated before, I really felt like they were using the US dollar to kill other currencies around the world. That's what was going on. You can see there's another article right here. It says the dollar is approaching 1,510 dinars for every $1. So this obviously is a concern of the government. It is a concern of the banking industry unless you're on the corrupt side of this. So the World Bank is giving kudos to the economy in Iraq. And just because they're giving them kudos doesn't mean it's stable. If your entire economy is being funded by one particular industry, that's not good. Because if something goes wrong, like what happened in 2019 and what seems to be happening now with a 40% decline in the value of oil, this isn't good. This is really bad. Remember, the 2023 budget is based on an average oil sale per barrel of $75. It's below 75. This puts them in a deficit. But the overall average for 2022, here we go. The World Bank confirmed today, Wednesday, that the Iraqi economy is witnessing a significant growth of 10.5%, while referring to the increase in the productivity of non-oil sectors in Iraq. You want to see that. But what they're not telling you is how much growth is there. This is exactly what you want to see. The non-oil sector growing. The bank said that the Iraqi economy is witnessing significant growth that reached 10.5% during the first half of 2022, compared to a growth rate that reached 2.8% in 2021. That's a huge difference between the two. This is what we want. We want that type of growth, but the growth has to come from multiple sources. It said, noting that the high rate of oil production and export quantities and global price had a major role in the increase, in addition to increasing the productivity of the non-oil sector in Iraq. The increase in public revenues represented an important opportunity that supports the future prospects of the Iraqi economy towards a diversified economy and increasing the contributions of non-oil sector to the gross domestic product, which is what they need. So that's what I'm saying. Is the glass half full or half empty? Sure, there's some bad things happening, but the fact that the government's able to identify what's wrong and address it, that's a good thing. You know, just like this bank situation. You know, they're finding out there's all kinds of nefarious things happening. So you can either look at it like, oh, here we go again, corruption all over again, or you can go, look, they're weaning out the corruption. There's two different ways to look at it. Are you a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of person? Me, I always want my beer to the very top. So it goes on to say, explaining that despite the favorable development opportunities in Iraq, the Iraqi economy is still suffering from problems. Many are looking for urgent solutions to sustain resilience and economic growth, including a water crisis and climate changes. You know, again, I said they make enough money, they should do this. Should build a huge, like, swimming pool, a cement storage facility, and have it covered and just take the runoff from the water, because the water just comes on through, goes from one side all the way to the other. You know, have some huge pipes that go right into a place where they could store the water and find a way to prevent it from evaporating is what they need to do. And so while the Central Bank of Iraq affirmed its monetary policy seeks to achieve stability and economic growth by using various monetary policy tools, both traditional and unconventional, noting that its various initiatives, whose amounts exceed 18 trillion dinars, contributed to providing appropriate financial on soft terms for many projects. You know, they are trying to do the right thing so far. But like I said, as soon as they usually take one step forward, something just comes right back and nips them in the butt. So here we go. It says serious leaks from inside the Central Bank of Iraq. It said the U.S. Federal Reserve summons the Director General of Banking Control at Central Bank, and she goes with an interpreter, along with a statement and information on all Iraqi banks. It said the Governor of the Central Bank and Director General of Investments with Compliance Department of the Central Bank of Iraq went urgently to Amman to meet delegations from the U.S. Treasury Department a week ago. The Iraqi officials were rebuked for suspicious transfers in the currency auction over the year. All the talk revolves around what the federal and U.S. Treasury audit of currency sales witnessed during the current year, for a daily sale rate of more than $250 million, discovered that many of the transfers were intended to smuggle and launder money. So you can point the fingers at academia all you want, but understand this is the whole year that they were going without a government. Now, I'm not saying this guy is free from, accountability. With the government in full disarray, it made it easier for a lot of people to try to be sneaky. The initial discussion of the United States Treasury was to freeze 4 banks in the Middle East. So you can see right here, like I said, it was a daily sale rate of $250 million, but it was discovered that many of the transfers were intended to smuggle and launder money. The initial discussion with the U.S. Treasury was to freeze 4 banks. The current hidden is that they are suspicious of the work of 14 other banks. Remember, Khazali and Maliki, they are owners of some of these banks. But anyways, like I said, there were suspicions of 14 other banks during the past year. The discussion is taking place around it, and the central bank is trying to delay or stop the Treasury procedures against these banks because depriving other banks, in addition to the current 4, means the collapse of the Iraqi banking system. So obviously, the Federal Reserve has been auditing the currency sales over there in Iraq, and they're not liking what they see. Some of the biggest issues that foreign investors and the international community had with Iraq: money laundering and financing of terrorists. So the current sales of the auction, especially the remittance, are fully audited by the Federation, and every day a group of remittances is returned. And this is the main reason for the rise in the price of the dollar, because their price is linked to the remittance and not to cash. Therefore, the bank procedures to increase the exchange company's share of the cash remains a helpless and unscientific procedure. The most dangerous thing is that there are leaks currently circulating that the U.S. Treasury has given signals to the central bank that it will reduce the amount of the dollar cash granted to the central bank in the future because it is against the policy of increasing cash in the Iraqi market for fear that the cash will reach groups, countries, and others. And this will also affect the coming days on the amount of cash in the market, and thus will inevitably affect the exchange rate. Of course it will. Look, you really want to be a singular currency. What this does is increase the confidence in the public's use of their local currency. You get them out of the habit of using the US dollars and using just your local currency, which is a good thing. So like I said, you can look at it one of 2 ways. Either the glass is half full, and that is at least they're catching these things and they're able to identify them, and they're working with the United States to fix the issues that they're coming across, hopefully catch the people who are responsible for this. Or is the cup half empty and you're like, oh God, not again. It seems like they can't get anything straight, and it's just going to cause further delays before we see an actual real increase in Iraqi dinar. You guys let me know what you think. I'll look forward to your comments, and I will catch you later. I'm out.